Here are the cast and the characters they play. Pakorn Chatboryarak. Boy. As Chitawan Pisanuwait. Tawan. He was a medical student with bright future, who defied Chanlathi, wealthy father of his pregnant girlfriend, Namtheep, to marry his daughter. Chanlathi was shot and killed on his wedding day. A faked eyewitness, a little girl named Bwa, framed him for the murder, and he was eventually sentenced to life imprisonment. 11 years later, a young lawyer, Plyphon, unexpectedly visits him in prison, offering to assist him, as she claims to have evidence to prove his innocence. Plyphon managed to get his case reopened, and the court eventually overturned his guilty verdict. Although he is grateful to Plyphon for getting him freed, and assisted him in filing for compensation claim, he is also skeptical of her motives for helping him without expecting anything in return. He vows to seek revenge on the person who caused his wrongful imprisonment, despite being advised from doing so by his mother and Plyphon. He conducts investigation and discovers that the witness who framed him, Bwa, died of illness shortly after his arrest. He does, however, manages to locate her brother, Boon, who denies his sister's involvement in the case. Despite Boon's denials, he is convinced Boon is somehow involved in the murder and conducts investigation into him. Meanwhile, Plyphon continues to assist him, because he has been summoned to testify as witness for the reopening of his case. Plyphon meets him regularly, because she worries he may make hasty decision and get himself into trouble. As a result of this, they begin to develop feelings for each other. His investigation into Boon leads him to Pech, the husband of his ex-girlfriend, Namtheep, whom he believes was the person behind his wrongful murder conviction. Plyphon offers to assist him, finding evidence to press charges against Pech, but being an impulsive person, he insists on taking the matter into his own hands. He becomes suspicious of Plyphon, after learning that she not only knows Boon, the man who works for Pech, but her relationship with Boon appears to be much deeper. He, however, hides his suspicion while observing her closely. His vengeance against Pech is hindered, after learning that Pech holds a secret that he is eager to know, but Pech will only disclose it if he spares his life. He plots to have Pech and his men, Boon and Yos, fight among themselves, but his plan fails, because Pech is protected by a powerful gang lord. After learning that they are all being targeted by the gang lord now, he persuades Boon and Tos to betray Pech and join him in confronting their boss. He and Boon are captured by the gang lord, but with Boon's help, they manage to escape. While attending to the wounded Boon, he discovers that Boon was the one who killed his father. He is torn between saving Boon, who has saved him, and seeking revenge on Boon and leaving him to die. Yena Salas. Gina. As Plyphon Tiyako. Buabucha. A lawyer. She is a recent law graduate who unexpectedly shows up in prison to meet Tawan, claiming she has evidence to prove his innocence, and offers to help him reopen his case. The reason she is doing so is because she was the girl who falsely claimed to have witnessed him commit murder, and has been living in guilt for the past 11 years. When her brother, Boon, finds out that Tawan is looking for the person who framed him, he asks her to distance himself from Tawan, but she insists to continue to help him. She offers to assist Tawan exact revenge through legal means, but he insists on doing it his own way. She, however, remains as his counsel after he is called to testify as the prosecution witness of his case. She frequently visits Tawan, because she worries that he will get into trouble. Her unwavering concern for Tawan develops into love over time. She and her brother Boon are abducted by Pech, after he finds out that she is Tawan's attorney and was the little girl, Bwa, who framed Tawan in the past. She is forced by Pech to ensure he is not incriminated in the case, or her brother will be harmed, and her real identity will be exposed to Tawan. It is then her brother informs her that he was forced to work for Pech in order to pay for her heart surgery. Meanwhile, she tries to prevent her brother, Boon, from harming Tawan as per Pech's orders, but her regular contacts with Boon eventually catch the attention of Tawan. Tawan does not buy her explanation that she is seeing Boon to protect him, and becomes suspicious of her. After witnessing endless feud between Tawan and her brother, Boon, she is unable to bear Boon being harmed any longer. She confesses to Tawan that she was the little girl who framed him 11 years ago, and tells him that, if he still insists on exact revenge, he should kill her instead of Boon. Tawan is too shocked to react because he loves her, and she was also the one who got him out of jail. Despite her desire to defend her brother, she decides to leave his fate in the hands of Tawan, after learning that he was the one who murdered Tawan's father. Tanin Manunsap. Bomb. As. Katapech. Pech. He is the son of Namthip's father, Chonlathi's friend. He is closer to Chonlathi than to his own father. However, due to Chonlathi's knowledge of a secret of his, he decided to eliminate him. When he learned that Tawan and Chonlathi were at odds over a family matter, he decided to have Chonlathi killed, and put the blame on Tawan. He married Tawan's girlfriend, Namthip, whom he has always liked, after Tawan's imprisonment. He is enraged to learn that Tawan is released after 11 years, and that he is aided by a mysterious, unknown lawyer, named Plyphon. He wants to obstruct any evidence that could be used against him, after learning that Tawan's case will be reopened. He is furious when he discovers that Boon's sister, whom Boon lied to, had passed away 11 years ago, turns out to be Plyphon, the lawyer who secured Tawan's release from prison. He threatens Plyphon that if he is implicated in the case, her true identity will be revealed to Tawan, and her brother, Boon, will be harmed. In addition to that, he also orders Boon to kill Tawan, to prevent him from further investigating the case. Meanwhile, he is jealous of his wife, Namthip, whom he observes has changed, and is in constant contact with her ex-boyfriend, Tawan, since his release from prison. Boon fails to kill Tawan. Instead he kills Tawan's father and a follower of Tawan's friend, Comdek. As a result of this, Tawan and Comdek are out to exact revenge on him. He is able to halt Tawan's plan, after he tells him that he holds a secret, that Tawan is eager to know, and that he will only reveal it to him later. However, Comdek continues to pursue him, and it is at this point, that Taichin, a gang leader who is a friend of his mother, saves him, and promises to protect him going forward. However, he refuses to be under Taichin's protection, because he believes he is capable of defending himself from Tawan, and does not want to get involved with someone of Taichin's background. True to his belief, he encounters more difficulties and is accused of a murder after Taichin secretly kills one of his adversaries on his behalf. Outraged by Taichin's action, he decides to turn against Taichin to stop him from interfering in his life. Raw Yuan Boon Prakam. Yogurt. As. Namthip. After getting pregnant with her boyfriend, Tawan's child, she defied her father, Chonlathi's order to break up with Tawan, and left the house to marry him. On her planned wedding day, her father was killed, and Tawan was accused of the murder. Devastated by what Tawan had done, she broke up with him, gave up their child after giving birth, because she couldn't bear to raise the child of her father's murderer, and ended up marrying Pech. Since then, she had never wanted to get pregnant again, despite her mother-in-law's pressure, because she believed she didn't deserve to be a mother. She, who still loves Tawan, regrets not trusting him in the past when his guilty judgment is reversed, and he is set free. She helps Tawan identify any potential enemies of her father who could have wanted to kill him. Her involvement in this case and her regular contacts with Tawan arouse jealousy of Pech, who wants her to distance herself from her ex-boyfriend. Her relationship with her mother-in-law, Karnyana, which hasn't been good all along because of her refusal to have a child, deteriorates when Karnyana accuses her of wishing to revive her previous relationship with Tawan. She begins to be suspicious that there may be more going on than merely jealousy, causing the conflict between her husband, Pech, and Tawan. She eventually decides to leave Pech, but Pech uses a secret about her son to force her to stay. Foray Reet Fuangarom. Not. As. Comday. Ex-prisoner friend of Tawan. He was an ex-cop turned prisoner who used to share a cell with Tawan, and was indebted to Tawan for once saving his life after he collapsed in prison. He manages a workshop at a shipyard after getting out of jail, and when Tawan continually failed to find work elsewhere, he gives Tawan a job there. He advises Tawan not to seek revenge against people who placed him in jail, because he does not want him to get into any trouble that could land him in jail again. After it is obvious that Tawan is not giving up his revenge efforts, he uses his connections as an ex-cop to assist him. He also orders his subordinates to protect Tawan and his family. He has been suspicious of Plyphon's identity, right from the beginning, but refrains from interfering in her relationship with Tawan, until he finds out that she and Boon know each other. From supporting and assisting Tawan, he turns vengeance against Pech, after his man, Phipob, whom he considers as his son, is killed by Pech's man. After learning that Pech is being protected by Taichin, a powerful and ruthless gang leader, he advises Tawan against confronting Pech. When Tawan is determined to carry out his revenge plan, and find out the person who killed his father. Despite knowing that they face an uphill task, he resolves to stand with him. Pen Pech Ben Yakul. As Niti. Police Inspector. He is a corrupted police inspector who conspired with Pech to incriminate Tawan in the murder of Chanathi. When the court overturns Tawan's guilty verdict and reopens the case, he removes the identity of the eyewitness from the case's old files in order to prevent it from ultimately leading to Pech. In addition to that, when Pech's man, Boone, kills Tawan's father and another man, he hides a piece of evidence, and conducts the investigation poorly, citing lack of evidence. Siri Silpchot Vejit. As Bori Boone. Brother of Plyphon. 11 years ago, in order to pay for his sister, Boa's heart surgery, introduced by his friend, he got hired by Pech to kill Namtheep's father, Chonlathi, and then framed Tawan for the crime. He asked his younger sister Boa to approach Chonlathi, by tricking her into believing that she was taking part in a movie shoot. He shot Chonlathi as she got near to him. He then guided her to inform the police that she witnessed Tawan shooting at the victim. After Tawan's release from the prison, he asks his sister, Plyphon, to distance herself from him, because he fears for her safety if Tawan finds out she was the one who caused his imprisonment. At the same time, he is unknowingly betrayed by his friend, Thos, who informs Tawan about his involvement in the case, resulting in him being hunted by Tawan. He has also outraged his boss, Pech, by lying to him about his sister's death when she is still alive, and whom is supporting the prosecution in the reopening of the case. He is captured and tortured by Pech before he is ordered to kill Tawan. He fails to kill Tawan, and is forced to shoot Tawan's father and friend, Phipob, instead. Pech is furious at him for killing Tawan's father instead of Tawan, which has spurred Tawan's vow to exact revenge on Pech. He later learns that he is facing a ruthless gang lord who is out to protect Pech, and decides to join forces with Tawan to confront them. Karina Shanchana Kalin. As Buabucha, Plyphon, sister of Bor Boone. Her brother, Boone, duped her into cooperating with him in framing Tawan of killing Chonlathi. He instructed her to testify as an eyewitness to the murder and falsely identify Tawan as the killer. Since then, she has been feeling guilty for causing Tawan to be imprisoned and determined to be a lawyer to seek justice for him. After her surgery, her heart donor, an orphan girl named Plyphon Tiakul, was buried as Boa, while she adopted her donor's identity and stayed at the orphanage. Napa Chimuta Weavong. As Thos, Pech's assistant. He is a long-time assistant of Pech who introduced his friend, Boone, to his boss, to kill Chonlathi. He became envious of Boone after Boone successfully completed his task, and harbored animosity against him since he thought Pech had started to favor Boone over him. When Tawan is released from prison, 11 years later, he anonymously hinted to Tawan about Boone's involvement in his case. As a result of this, Tawan begins to pursue Boone to find out the identity of the person who framed him. He enrages Pech, after Pech discovers that he has betrayed him by alerting Tawan about Boone, which prompts Tawan to conduct an investigation that is eventually traced to him. In an effort to protect the one they love, he and Boone start to turn against each other. While Boone is concerned about his sister Plyphon, he is worried about the safety of his son. However, ultimately, they learn that they are on the same boat, and that Tachin, the gang lord who is protecting Pech, has them both in his sights. Apasiri Nitiband. As Karjana, mother of Pech. She and her son, Pech, have been keeping a crucial secret from her husband in order to protect Pech's status in the family. Echoing her husband's desire to have a grandchild, she pressures her daughter-in-law, Namtheep, to get pregnant as soon as possible. Namtheep's reluctance to get pregnant led to her into believing that she still loves Tawan. She cautions Namtheep that if she is adamant about not getting pregnant, her son Pech may have a child with another woman. When she finds out that Tawan is attempting to kill her son, she requests Tachin, who is her ex-boyfriend and a powerful, ruthless gangster, to protect Pech. However, Pech refuses to have anything to do with Tachin, because he does not want to get into trouble due to Tachin's shady background. She is furious and forces Pech not to decline Tachin's protection. Her eagerness to protect Pech's status in the family from being overshadowed by his stepsister, Ploy, eventually leads to her betrayal of her husband. Treen Sidhachok. As Thanahwat, father of Pech. He is eager to see his son, Pech produces an heir but relies on his wife to urge Pech's wife, Namtheep, to conceive. He is oblivious to the fact that his wife and Pech have been concealing a secret from him for several years, including Pech's connection to the demise of Namtheep's father. He believes that Tawan's envy towards Namtheep is the root cause of the tension between his son, Pech and Tawan. Oblivious to the more severe underlying reason for their animosity, he offers Tawan money to cease bothering Pech. Upon discovering that a criminal boss is safeguarding Pech, he becomes wary and strongly objects to the arrangement, fearing that his son might become involved in the gang leader's illicit pursuits. Upon discovering the secret his wife has been keeping from him since their marriage, he has a heart attack while confronting her. He then watches helplessly as his wife not only disregards his difficulty in breathing but also prevents Pech from assisting him. Pai Boon Kiat Qk Yao. As Anupong, father of Tawan. Jean Tarasukapat. As mother of Tawan. After discovering that Tawan intends to retaliate against those who imprisoned him previously, she pleads with him to reconsider, as she is concerned about his welfare. Despite her desire for him to move on and start anew, Tawan remains resolute in his determination to hold accountable those who were responsible for his imprisonment. Simultaneously, she empathizes with Tawan regarding his employment in a blue-collar job and holds the aspiration that he will secure a job in the medical field that aligns with his qualifications in the near future. Patarakorn Bud Sarakamwadi. As Sarsi, Tawan's younger sister. Mintita Wadanakool. As Bloy, stepsister of Pech. She has always been under the impression that her father exhibits favoritism towards Pech as he was appointed to a higher position in the company. Although Pech is her stepbrother, their relationship has never been amicable. However, upon learning that Namtheep is aiding Tawan in investigating her father's death, she extends her support to her. She meets Tawan by chance and with his assistance, successfully secures a significant business deal for her company. This not only incites Pech's ire due to her victory over him in securing the deal but also because of her intention to involve Tawan in their company. Chatahiotam Haranyatithi. Chai. As Tachin, a gang lord. He had an affair with Karnyana, mother of Pech, before she left him to marry wealthy Thanawat, because she wanted a peaceful life than living with someone from the underworld. Karnyana approaches him for help when she finds out that her son, Pech, is almost killed by Tawan. Although Pech is hesitant to receive his help due to personal issues, he remains determined to safeguard him. This is achieved by warning and eliminating anyone who possesses knowledge of his involvement in Chunlathi's murder. Daranti Takawin. As Plyfon's adoptive aunt. Nathazat Koti Manuzwanik. As Thipob, Tawan's co-worker at the shipyard. We want Phasam Sub. As Namtheep's father. Nutanan Kunwa. As Sapal, police inspector. Thanakorn. Kanyala Woodapong. Ong Pao. As Rawi, Toza's son. Priyama Rachata. As Pech's former nanny. Thai Channel 3. Thank you for watching.